Right. Of course, India against New Zealand live on Sky Sports Cricket later on this afternoon. Guys, let's switch our attentions now to Tottenham Hotspur, because I don't think we've done a Sunday supplement without talking about the plight of Tottenham Hotspur. Andy Dunn in the Sunday Mirror, his column says, call for 79-year-old Harry Redknapp to save Spurs is not so laughable after bizarre move for Tudor. There it is. But then Tottenham in the Championship would not be a catastrophe. Carl, wouldn't it?
It'd be a catastrophe if Tottenham in the Championship. Even the colloquial sort of that stadium where Beyonce, Kendrick Lamar and other huge global acts will be in the Championship. It'd be a catastrophic underperformance and a team that, to my mind, just looks completely devoid of confidence and players that are just without collective responsibility to each other. I was baffled by the sight of Vicario and the interaction with Porro for one of their goals against Crystal Palace. Everyone just seems to be pointing fingers at each other and blaming each other instead of rolling up their sleeves and going, we have to work together. I have no idea if they get relegated, but what I will say is West Ham and Nottingham Forest tend to have a little bit of momentum, whereas Tottenham Hotspur right now have none.
Jackie, just picking up on that, Alison Rudd's piece in the Sunday Times actually looks at the attitude of the players and maybe the attitude just surrounding this relegation fight, full stop. The relegation battle could, in the end, be decided by attitude. Self-belief is a powerful asset. Entitlement is debilitating. There is no point in Spurs fans feeling sorry for themselves. They have to find the positives, such as the encouraging performance of Archie Gray against Palace, and cheer them, exaggerate their importance, make the players feel they belong, and that errors will not be dwelt upon. That almost feels like something that Harry Redknapp would actually do to make his players feel like $1 million, wouldn't he?
Yeah, and I do also like the quote from Ali Rudd in the Times where she said, I don't want to boast, but I honestly believe that I could have been made interim manager at Spurs, lost my first 3 games and then declared, well, I saw something. I saw something positive. And Spurs fans probably feel the same. But, I mean, I don't recommend doing this, but I actually went back and watched every single goal that Tottenham have conceded going back to last summer, even back to last May. Wow. And there is a common theme there of not taking responsibility. Perfectly capable, in theory, international defenders not taking responsibility. Midfielders not tracking runners. Leaving players on the edge of the box completely free, the pass coming into them unchallenged, untracked, not closing down spaces, allowing that player to shoot, and funnily enough, quite often it goes in the back of the net. And I look back to the final game of last season in the Premier League when Tottenham lost 4-1 at home to Brighton, and Diego Gomez scored from 25 yards out. Fabulous goal, curling effort, not closed down. Every single starter from that starting 11 for Tottenham that day, and all 5 subs who came off the bench, were there this season as well. And only in January did Brennan Johnson go to Crystal Palace, but he played for them too. And in terms of strengthening in the summer, they brought in most notably Kudus, who scored 2 Premier League goals before being injured in January. So they haven't strengthened in the way that Manchester United, who finishes 2 places above them, did strengthen, with the likes of Mbeumo, with the goalkeeper Lamans, who came in belatedly, with Šeško, who's now really starting to bear fruit. Cunha, of course, hit the ground running from the Premier League. They strengthened. Tottenham haven't. And you could imagine Ange Postecoglou sitting here going, well, yeah, we finished 17th last season, and look at the lack of relative strengthening. It has to be said that injuries have played a part, with Maddison, I think it was a massive loss, missing the entire season, Kulusevski too. But in terms of that personal responsibility, the goals they conceded all have a common theme, and that is players themselves who are perfectly capable of closing down, perfectly capable of stopping crosses, perfectly capable of spotting a bloke free 20 yards from goal, closing him down. They don't do it, and they're not used to being in this situation. They're used to being in the latter stages of major tournaments, and they need to switch their mentality quickly, manager or no manager.
Dom, in the Sunday Express, there is a spread with Nottingham Forest and Tottenham Hotspur, with the relegation battle heating up. Clearly, Nottingham Forest have decided that they're going to go for a short-term managerial bounce after short-term managerial bounce after short-term managerial bounce. Let's see if it does work with Vitor Pereira. It seems to be bearing fruit a little bit. Tottenham Hotspur, of course, started with Thomas Frank, tried to get the managerial bounce with Igor Tudor. It hasn't happened. Do you think they need to make a change now, or do you think he can and he's got enough to keep them up?
No, I don't. No, I don't think he's the right man. But I don't want that to be a focus on him, because I think the blame and the spotlight should be on who's ever has appointed him and made that decision. He's got no experience of the Premier League. He's never had any English knowledge of it or exposure to English football on a consistent basis. Yes, he's had a top level career, but who and what thought his record would keep a team that is in a vortex, has got an awful climate around it in terms of the atmosphere, in terms of the fans are absolutely at their wits' end in terms of how the club's being run. Who said he was going to be the magic formula? I really worry for them. I really worry for the situation, because the malaise is deep here. I don't see how they get out of it.
Carl, Jackie mentioned it there about post-Bilbao, what Manchester United did and what Tottenham Hotspur did. You could actually go back to 2019 and the Champions League final, couldn't you? Because Liverpool almost used that victory as a platform to build, whereas it felt like the end of something for Tottenham Hotspur. Rather like winning that trophy felt like, right, we've ended that trophy drought. Has this been a malaise that has been long in the making?
Yes. Look, we know that ahead of that Champions League final, Christian Eriksen had more or less packed up everything in his house. He's believing he was going to leave. Mauricio Pochettino, apparently on the journey to that final, very much seemed like that was going to be his last hurrah. They continued a little bit further. I think one of the big problems, the deep malaise, is what are Tottenham Hotspur? What are they? What do they want to be? And it very much seems like the decision makers do not know. Yes, I think they've had a very, very bad summer transfer window, but they made attempts to sign Eberechi Eze, they made attempts to sign Brian Mbeumo. They cannot pay the wages that Manchester United can pay. They cannot pay the wages that Arsenal can pay, which means very often very good players go elsewhere. There's also this problem, and this very keen sense when I look at Tottenham Hotspur, where a lot of their best players are players going, I'm going to stay here for 2 or 3 years, and if it works well, I'll leave. And indeed, now they've lost to Crystal Palace, a lot of the online chatter is, which players are we going to pick up in the Tottenham Hotspur fire sale? Which I think is completely, it sums up the point, in that you're looking at players like Romero or Van der Ven, and they're going, well, if they go down, I'll go elsewhere. And I'm, to my opinion, to sound like my dad too much, no. You need to roll your sleeves up and make sure they don't get relegated. This will be on your head if they don't. The fact that Romero was not available against Crystal Palace because he's been sent off, and then Van der Ven gets sent off as well. And as Jackie correctly says, the responsible person in the room is the 18-year-old Archie Gray. That poor boy. He doesn't deserve to be in this huge malaise and mess. Tottenham have a huge problem in terms of leadership. They have a very, very poor idea of what sort of club they want to be. The idea that now, I mean, Conor Gallagher is apparently the highest paid player. The last time Conor Gallagher won at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, he was a Chelsea player in a 4-1 victory. It's a huge mess, and it's loads of different contributing factors. I think it is understandable to me why they parted ways with Ange Postecoglou, but the Thomas Frank tenure went on for far too long, and a change should have been made earlier, and now they're in an absolute mess. And that Igor Tudor, I think, is there because they had his phone number rather than they knew he was a good fit for this squad right now. So I'm sorry, Tottenham Hotspur fans, good luck.
Just finally, stay up or go down?
Well, having watched all those goals conceded yesterday, it's not looking good. But imagine if they went on to win the Champions League somehow, and then next season they're in the Champions League, and then they're playing Lincoln City and Stockport County in the league.
I don't know if they get the fixtures in. So stay up or go down? I'm putting you on the spot here.
Oh, man. Stay up just.
Dom?
I think they're going to go down.
Carl?
I think they stay up.
Right. Okay.